Welcome back guys. In this video, we would learn about how to install Facebook Pixel with the help of Google Tag Manager. Remember, Google Tag Manager is a tag management solution which will help you trigger whatever tags whenever you want with whatever data you want, right? So it's basically a tag management solution. So if you want me to elaborate a little bit of tag manager, I would say it like this. Rather than placing several codes on your backend, which is only going to make your site heavy and the page load will become slower. That means page will load slowly, right? Or it will increase the page load time, right? So to overcome this challenge, what you can do is you can only put one code on your backend, which is Google Tag Manager, and open a Google Tag Manager account. In that, you put all the other codes, and in that Google Tag Manager, you can configure which tag should fire when and where, and how it should fire with what data it should fire. So it's basically a tag management solution. So rather than placing all the codes, you only place one code. Now you might say, why is that like that? See, every time somebody gives me a code, I have to ask my developer to go place it in the backend, which is only going to make it hard. And at times, if you don't have developer support, or if your developer is very busy working on other development works, it kind of becomes very difficult, and it also does not become very responsive. You want to do something immediately, developer is not available, you miss out on capturing some data points, right? So to overcome all these challenges, once you go to developer and tell him to put Google Tag Manager code on the backend, and once Google Tag Manager code is placed, you can deploy any other tag, maybe analytics, maybe Facebook Pixel, or Quora, LinkedIn Insight tag, Twitter tag, Google Ads remarketing tag, anything. Right, you don't have to go to developer. All can be done through Tag Manager. So let me take you through inside this video and show you how to install Facebook Pixel. At the same time, we'll also put Google Tag Manager. We use one plugin, and let's do this setup. So I'll show you how this works in real time. Yeah. So you see, this is my Google Tag Manager account. I want to use this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code. This is the Google Tag Manager ID. Now, when you talk about Google Tag Manager, remember guys, there are two. It's a two-part code. Same, like one is no script, second one is a script. In Facebook tag, again there are two types of tags: script tag, no script tag. Remember, script tag only fires on browsers which have JavaScript enabled. No script will work only on browsers of people who visit my website and have JavaScript disabled. That is why it is called no script. Script means you put whatever tag in that, the browser can understand it is a JavaScript. Right? See, I'll tell you, if you want me to elaborate further, let me go to my website. I want to give you the brief of what I'm trying to explain in real time. See, if you go to my website, you see, whatever you see on the front end is a visual representation of the code. This is the whole code. But if browser is going to show me that code, I practically would say, no, I don't understand anything. So browser's job is to interpret that code and show me in a way which is being served like this, right? Now see, they're all HTML. It's basically HTML document. But in the HTML document, if I have to put JavaScript, the browser will not be able to understand because it's a code. To tell browser that yes, it's an HTML document, but inside of HTML document, there's a JavaScript which executes some functionality. For that, what we do is we put them in the script tags, right? But there are some out of 100 people, maybe 2 people eventually have JavaScript disabled. So if those people come, JavaScript will not load, which is script tag will not load, and you will not track them. You will miss out on those people. So to track those people also, you have no script. And if you see here no script, this no script tag is an iframe, right? And again in this iframe, you see source src is equal to source, and in that iframe, this a request is made by the browser to this particular URL. Right, and when request is made by browser to the particular URL, Tag Manager will be notified saying a person visited a site. And you see, and again the CSS is written. You see, style is equal to display.none. That means whatever comes. Imagine if it's an image. In Pixel it is one by one. You can't see with the naked eye. But here it is being said you make a request, but that response comes from the server. You don't display that because I said that element should become none, display none. But I don't want to see all these things. But if you're working with a developer, if it's not a WordPress site, you have to talk to your developer and tell him, hey, developer, this has to go into the head section, this has to go into the body section. Remember, it's a two-part code, head, body, right? But here I'm using WordPress, so simply I'm going to copy the, the code here. I don't want to copy the whole code, I just need the ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to the backend of the site. Now, because it's a WordPress site, I already have one plugin installed, If you don't have plugin installed, please go and install this plugin. The name of the plugin is called Google Tag Manager for WordPress, and it is a plugin by Thomas Geiger. So what I'm going to do is I am going to activate this plugin. Now, just to show you, there are no pixels on the site. We tried everything, but I removed all those pixels. So if you go to my site now, you refresh it, you'll not find any pixel because I removed all the previous pixels, and we're going to deploy the pixel now with the help of Google Tag Manager. But firstly, you have to put Google Tag Manager. So that's why what I'm going to, oh, what? Why is Facebook pixel appearing here? I think I need to. No, it was not appearing. Maybe it's a cache. You see here? I just refreshed the site here. You see, there's no tag. So there should be some problem with this. So what I'll do is just to, right. So I have enabled this plugin called Google Tag Manager for WordPress. I open this settings here. If you don't have it installed, please install. If you have it, just go here and you open it. Or you can even do like this. You go to settings here on the left side. You see, in settings you have Google Tag Manager. Here what you can do is you can simply go, I'm going to put this code. This is the new GTM tag that I want to paste it. So it is not asking me to place the whole code, it's only asking me to deploy the code, because Thomas Geiger in the backend put whole the code. So the only difference between your tag manager code and my tag manager code is the ID. So you see, it is saved, but just to be on the safe side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the site again here. There's another extension called Google Tag Assistant. You can please use that extension, because this extension will tell you what Google tags were fired on this page. If it be a Google Tag Manager or a Google website call conversion code or a remarketing code, a conversion tracking code, a G tag code, right? A global site tag. You see, it detected there's something called Google Tag Manager, right? So Tag Manager is there. So what I have to do now is go copy this pixel code. Now you might say, Prashant, where do I copy this code from? I just click on copy, but then I'll even go to show you, right? So generally what you do is log into your business manager. When you log into your business manager, you go to something called events manager. In events manager, when you come to events manager, you come to this place called pixel. So you select whatever pixel you want, click on this add events and click on new website. And here you can say add code manually, and here copy the code. Now once the code is copied, you simply come back to your Google Tag Manager account, because Tag Manager is placed. So this is my Google Tag Manager account, right? This is my Google Tag. This is the code that is now placed on the website. So I can place all my other tags in this container, which is Google Tag Manager. So what I am going to do now is I'm going to create a new tag. I'll show you different ways. So I'll say all pages. Simply go and I choose something called custom HTML. When I choose something called custom HTML, you don't have to have all these things, because you simply copy the code, paste the code here, right? Done. So then what I'm going to do is I want this tag to fire on all pages. If you only put it on home page, what will happen? Whenever people come to my home page, only then Facebook pixel will fire, Facebook will be notified. But when you go to other pages, Facebook will not be notified because pixel is not there. That is why the first responsibility is place the code on all pages. Whether you track purchases, whether you track the other things that people do on your site, like browsing, scrolling around, right? To capture all those things, that is secondary. But primary thing is take the code and place it to fire on all pages of your site. Right, so I just simply copy the code, nothing else. We will do the customization part also. I'll show that as we go deeper, but here it's only about all pages. Right, so once I submit, what will happen? The whenever people come to my site, Now, whenever people come to my site, what will happen here is GTM will load, and GTM knows on which tag what tag to fire. So when people come to my site, the first thing is GTM loads, and when GTM loads, it internally fires the page view tag, which is the Facebook pixel tag, which will send the information to Facebook saying it is a page view. Now remember, the basic pixel, whenever it loads, it sends an event to Facebook called page view. Look at this very carefully. Page view. So when you put this tag to fire on all pages, whenever people go to any page, an event will be fired. That event is what we see in the pixel helper as page view. But I showed you how to send extra parameters in the form of an object. I will teach you about objects in detail. I'll give you access to an object builder tool as I take you into the advanced videos. But for now, I don't want to do anything. So once I submit it, what will happen? I have to submit it. You don't have to simply paste it. I have to submit it. When I submit it, what will happen is, you can give it a name. It's always a good practice to give it a name, saying, Facebook Pixel installed, because Google Tag Manager comes with version control. In case something goes wrong, you can revert back to previous version. So it's always good to give it a name, or whatever you've done, you just write, so that whenever something goes wrong, you can simply go and check it and revert back. Right. See, now Pixel is installed on the website or deployed on the website through GTM. Now what I'm going to do is, I refresh the page. When I refresh the page, what's happening? It's still not loaded, right? Google Tag Manager fired. But along with Google Tag Manager, there should be something else that should fire, which is a pixel. And there's something wrong. This is the problem when you work with multiple domains and multiple tag manager accounts. Each time you kind of be very, very careful. You see, Google Tag Manager fired, and from Google Tag Manager, Pixel is fired. Pixel is fired, right? So now, this is how the implementation of Pixel works through Google Tag Manager. But here is the problem. Here is a problem. Not a problem. You can simply do like this. But if you want to be more technically sound, or you want to show it yourself as if yes, you have good knowledge with Pixel, so what you can do is, I have done like this. I don't generally put the entire tag in one tag, the entire code in one tag. What I generally do is, I remove this no script tag. And I say Facebook Pixel all pages. That means whenever JavaScript is enabled, that's when they should fire. Because no point in firing no script, because anyways it will not work. That no script should fire when people come to my website without JavaScript. But how do you track it? Yeah, I have written a code here. If you like to see, I have already written a code. I'll show you that code. JavaScript enabled, JavaScript disabled. What is this code, you might say? Okay. If I click on this, I created a custom JavaScript variable in Tag Manager. And I said, when this variable contains true. When this variable contains true, variable is something that holds value. And when this variable contains true, when the browser is having JavaScript enabled. If the browser is having JavaScript disabled, that means the user's browser who's coming to my website is having JavaScript disabled, the value will be false. That is why, see, when JavaScript enabled, I am giving the condition as true. When JavaScript is disabled, the condition will be false. I'll show you that code also. So here I'm saying I remove the no script tag, and I put this tag not to fire in all pages. I put this tag to fire. Earlier the pixel was fired in all pages, but now I am trying to go little deeper. So I would split that both the codes. The script tags I'll put in one tag, the other I'll put in another tag. The script tag, which has to fire only for people who come to my website with JavaScript enabled. That is why I'm saying JS enabled is true. I showed you, right? So now see. I'll show you one more. Let me create one more tab. This time I say FB pixel all pages. I'll put JS disabled. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here, go to custom HTML. No, I'm not going to go to custom HTML. Here I'm going to custom image. Why image? I'll show you. This is the code that I was working with, right? This is the code. You see, this is the image tag, image. For image tag, tag manager has an inbuilt custom image. So what you have to do, you just copy the image URL, the source. Custom HTML if you have a proper code, but here it's an image tag. And Google Tag Manager has an inbuilt image. So all you have to do is just copy and paste it, no quotes. Remember, be very careful. There should be no apostrophes, right? Enable cache busting. Why you enable cache busting is because whenever a person comes to my site, imagine you come to my site and your JavaScript is disabled. So script will not load, no script will load. No script will make a request to Facebook server asking for an image. When that image comes, the browser technology comes into picture. If a user is asking same image to the browser continuously, then what is browser doing? So browser has something called cache. So whenever something comes from the server, rather than sending to server the same request for same message, browser will store it in their cache. So next time a user requests the server for the same image, rather than asking the server, the browser will load that image from the cache. That is why when you come to my site for the first time, because the images are loaded for the first time, it might take a little longer time. But when the browser technology kicks in, they kind of store that images in the cache. Next time you ask for same images, reload the page, it will load quick fast. The process is same, but it's just that the additional number of requests that were sent to server are now dropped because they are loading from the cache of the browser. Who's doing that? The browser. And that is where the browser technology is increasing. So here I want to put this image tag because it is no script but image tag. That's why I'm showing image, and I want to fire it on people who come to my website with JavaScript disabled. So that's why I created one trigger. You can simply go create one trigger like this plus no. So I created one trigger. The name of the type of the trigger is page view. I gave name as Java disabled. And what condition I gave, JavaScript disabled ka condition. I gave the condition as does not equal true. Or you can simply put false, contains false. But here I'm saying does not equal true. I'll show you how this works in real time. So I want to show you. So this variable is called custom JavaScript variable. You can simply copy variable and tag manager. Variables are something that store value. So here I want to store value which is true or false. If it is true, means JavaScript enabled. If it is false, means JavaScript is disabled. You see, custom JavaScript enabled. When you come as a function return true, that's it. This function will only run when JavaScript is there. If it is there, it will return true. If it is not there, that means the browser is having JavaScript disabled, which will return false. So this true is stored in this variable CJS enabled. If it is false, that false will be stored in this variable CJS enabled. That is why when you go to my tags, you see JS enabled. See carefully. JS disabled. I put image tag and I put the condition is JS enabled to be false. But here I am saying does not contain true. Because anyways the other option is false. But rather than putting equals false, I am saying does not contain true. But if you go with the other option, which is all pages when JavaScript is enabled, the condition will be true. JS is enabled true. You see? Now I'm trying to fit into both the users who come with JavaScript enabled and disabled, right? So this way Facebook will get to know whenever a person comes to my site and whichever pages they go to, Facebook will eventually get to know. That's how we can create custom audiences, or maybe we can track their actions, and thereby you can create custom conversions and many other stuff, which we will discuss later in the advanced sections, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on submit. Okay. What I'm going to do is, because you might not find the difference, so I'll say here JavaScript enabled. I'll send one extra parameter here. so that you understand, yes, this tag is coming from this. Because every time you send page view, then you don't understand whether it's coming from the tracking, hard coded way, whether it's coming from the plugin that we use, partner integration, or if it's another plugin, or if it's GTM. So GTM, I'm going to send some extra information. So here I'll say value as um, value as pixel mastery. Right. So I'm going to save this document. This is the key value. So I'm submitting this. Continue. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to refresh this page. So tag manager fired. Along with tag manager, page view fired. With page view, the value pixel mastery is being set. So this proves that the tag is fired from uh, the Google Tag Manager from a person whose browser is having JavaScript enabled. Now you might say, Prashanth, how can a person disable the browser? I've never seen that. Of course, if your browser is disabled JavaScript, then you don't have the good experience, because majority of the websites on the internet use JavaScript to give you kind of experience. I'll show you example. If you come to my site, come on. Yeah. See, if you come to my site, I'll give you. This is all because of JavaScript, whatever I'm doing here. When you come to my site here, right? So if I enter the name here, so majority of the sites on internet use JavaScript. If you disable JavaScript, you'll not have the kind of experience you need. So if I say, you see, it's all because, you see, nice to meet you. When I hit enter, when you come down, you can go and check. We added a sound as well. It says, I think there's some problem with my website, but you can go and try. When you enter your name here, the content will dynamically change, and it will also give you a voice welcome saying, welcome to Major Marketer, whatever name you enter. For example, if I enter Prashanth, it says, hey Prashanth, welcome to Major Marketer. This is all because of JavaScript. So now you might say there's another condition. How in the world people disable JavaScript? So you see, I want to take you here. There's something at the bottom, inspect. Then you click on something called there should be something called settings here. Here you'd have an option called disable JavaScript. You see disable JavaScript on the right side. But still you'd be able to access my website. But Facebook will not know, because the script tag will not work. That is why Facebook gave us a custom image tag which is put under no script. So I hope this will really give you some insights about how to implement the pixel. It is must. Without this, you forget about scaling your campaigns or not using the most powerful machine learning technology of Facebook, which will work for you, exclusively for you, and to drive the results that matter to you and drive revenues. Right? This is the most powerful game, and this is where the real game begins. So if you haven't used Facebook Pixel, I would recommend you to go install the Pixel, at least send page views, and thereby at least you can create custom audiences of people who came to your website, and then you can remarket them. Remember, I always say this. If you watch me on YouTube or any other events, I always say many have a marketing plan, only few have a follow-up plan. So that follow-up plan can be executed only when you capture people who come to your site. And the only way for Facebook to capture whoever comes to your site is when you implement Facebook Pixel that establishes the connection between your website and Facebook servers. Thank you so much, and I would see you in the next videos where I would be talking about how Facebook Pixel helps you with tracking, how Facebook Pixel will help you with targeting, and how Facebook Pixel will help you with optimization. Thank you so much. I will see you in the other videos.